I remember her coming to me after she told me, oh, I'm pretty sure you look too fit, that you probably have just the flu. She came and hugged me and she said, sweetie, you have cancer.
Was
And
she
I
loving?
thought,
Was she very loving?
very loving.
Yeah. And that's a really important point.
Very loving.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Because what I hear there, this is huge, is that like it could be some, like even the people that are full of love can be convinced of something that isn't true and can convince us to believe it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So incredibly toxic, limiting, maybe fatal beliefs can come packaged through a loving expression. Most of us never learned how to train our brains, which is why most of us needlessly settle, struggle, and worse, suffer. My name is Chris Doris, and I want to make brain training mainstream. This is my series, Tough Talks, Conversations on Mental Toughness. I'm interviewing badasses from all walks of life on what mental toughness means to them and their unique approaches to strengthening their minds. Hey everyone, welcome back to Tough Talks, Conversations on Mental Toughness. I am your host, Chris Doris. Our guest today is named Veronica Villanueva. And Veronica was diagnosed 3.5 years ago. This is being recorded in April of 2020. So around September of 2016, she was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer and was given a 6-month life sentence, which apparently is pretty standard for that. And that was pre-biopsy. And I only know that because I read her book, right? And we're going to be talking a lot about her book. I actually studied her book. A lot of notes we're going to ask her. We're going to grill her on. This book is so incredibly powerful for so many reasons. The one that we're going to focus on, I mean, she's got all these menus of like healthy food, exercises, of treatments, but most of the book is about mentality. And her healing, of course, started with that, according to her. I haven't had a conversation with her yet prior to today, so I have a million questions lined up for her. But let me read you a little. Well, anyway, so she challenged the diagnosis. She's diagnosed. She's given a 6-month death sentence, and she just basically says, "Yeah, no, I believe in the diagnosis. I don't believe in the prognosis." So she changed her life, and she actually she took full ownership. And this is an amazing book. She just really takes, I mean, talk about mental toughness. She gets it. It's not her language, but she sure as hell gets mental toughness. You know, she told God, she's like, all right, I got this. I got cancer. I know I created it for myself. I'm not asking you to heal me. I created this. I'll heal myself, but I could use some help. That has to come up in this interview because I love that about her, that she takes that kind of ownership. So anyway, Veronica discovered her why after being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer in 2016. She knows she's alive today to share grace, blessings, and the lessons that cancer has taught her. Her incurable disease gave her the gift of knowing herself, loving herself, and sharing herself with others in a profound way. Through her work as a trained cordon bleu chef and certified health coach, Veronica aims to inspire others to embrace a holistic lifestyle built on a commitment to growth, eating healthy foods, taking the time to create memorable moments, and of course, fostering loving relationships. Let's get at it with no further ado. She's here waiting for us. Let's go find her. Where are you, Veronica? Found her. Here she is, Veronica Villanueva. Hello, friend. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Hello, Chris. How are you? And I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me to your badass podcast.
Yeah, well, that's right.
I'm flattered.
Well, I am flattered, and I'm also relieved because I'm off the hook now. I was literally instructed by multiple people to do whatever it took to get you onto this podcast because of the badass that you are, that we're going to explore in depth. Yeah, I think there's a few people that you know that have also appeared here as guests on Tough Talks. Laura Jane Bolton.
Yes,
Yes,
beautiful
health
person.
coach. Yes.
Beautiful
You know, as
person.
I was reading your book, we'll get to this in a second, but you were reminding me of you two. If you haven't connected on a really deep level, I implore you to make that happen, because
Yes.
as I was reading your book, you guys remind me of each other so much. Marietta Oslanch,
Oh, another beautiful soul.
Francis Pichet.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is your posse,
Oh gosh,
and they've
yeah.
all been guests on Tough Talks before.
They're beautiful people. And yes, we actually have had many moments where we shared meals together and
Oh, so great.
conversations. So
Now I'm jealous.
those are all
Hopefully
sacred,
I will join you
sacred
for one of
moments.
those.
Absolutely. Whenever you are here, let
Yeah.
me know.
And you're in Santa Monica, yeah?
I know, I wish. I'm actually in Hollywood Hills, but I love it
Oh,
here.
poor thing.
I'm 30 minutes from there.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Well, I told everybody quite a bit about you in the introduction, and what I'd love to do is to just kind of jump right into and let the book be the storytelling.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you sent me this copy, and by the way, I want to send you, just say thank you for this. This inscription is so beautiful. It's so, this is the first day we've ever spoken live to each other. As soon as I read this, I'm like, I love this woman already. It's very sweet. So
Oh,
thank you for that. Thank you for sending this. Look, I've studied it. This is how
thank you.
I studied.
Wow.
This
I'm
means
so
when this happens, it means I didn't read it. It means I studied it.
Yeah, I love that. And I do understand what it means to read and to study, because
Yeah.
I do both.
Yeah. Well, you got me captivated straight away. And so let me just let people know what we're talking about here. So, because this book just came out within like a month, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
This is fresh. So the title's fascinating. And I want to actually start with that. So the title is The Grace of Cancer. The subtitle is Lessons in Humility and Greatness.
Yes.
Would you tell us a little bit about, now folks already explained to them in the introduction a bit about your story, okay? So why that title?
Well, good question, Chris, because my initial title was going to be Cancer was the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Well, you do say that.
Right.
You make that pretty clear.
A friend of mine actually one day told me that, that's a little too long. And I thought, noted. I said, tomorrow when I go for a hike, I will revisit my title. The old V would have lost sleep, would have gotten obsessed, would have justified herself to a friend. But the new V, the new transformed V, accepted it and said, okay, and planned for it the next day and moved on and had dinner and slept well.
Yeah.
The next day I go for my hike and I said, okay, 2.5 hours later, I'm still hiking and I'm thinking, okay, this is way too long. Normally I don't hike for that long.
So you were hiking until you came up with the new title?
Exactly. Then I realized
I could be
you're
hiking
trying to
for a week.
control this. Yeah.
I'm going to be in great shape by the time I come up with this damn title.
Yes, shedding 30 pounds already,
We're
right?
dehydrated, right?
So then I found myself hiking for much longer than I'm used to. And I thought, okay, you're trying to control the situation here. And if you really have faith that God is going to give you this title, then you're going to go home and continue writing. So I did exactly that. I turned around, went home, took a shower, and I'm typing, and my assistant comes after 5 o'clock. And I'm not kidding you, within an hour that he was here, all of a sudden, as I'm typing and he's transcribing my manuscript, I yelled and I'm like, oh my God, literally like this. And tears just started coming down my eyes.
Wow.
And then I'm like, I know my title. As I said that, I knew also I was getting the download of what my book cover would look like. And this is exactly.
Yeah, right. And I have a question about that too.
So
these designs?
Yes, I'll explain that. And because there's a reason behind that.
We'll get to that.
So,
do you want to start with that or you want to get back to that? I have a note.
I'll finish what I wanted to say, which is, as I realized, I was given the download of, that's it. I know what my title is, The Grace of Cancer. And the reason why it's grace is if you research what grace really means, it's something that you're given, whether you deserve it or not. You didn't ask for it. It's something that wasn't planned. It's just given. And I thought, it's not a reward, it's not a punishment, it just is.
Oh, I love that.
So
That's
cancer
a mic
wasn't
drop.
given to me.
That's a mic drop moment. I like to slow it down when that happens.
Well, I'm glad I gave you those moments. I hope I'll be giving you more of those.
Well, this is, well, you will be. And I know it by virtue of having read the book. And yeah, so my commitment to my audience is to make sure that at the end of each of these interviews that they walk away with something, at least a thing, like a concrete, unambiguous thing that they can either use as a thinking, a paradigm shift, or something to go do, or both, right? A new practice, a new way of living, a new way of looking at life. So would you repeat that? So I have a mantra which is "ain't bad, just is." But you said it's not good. I forget exactly how you said it, but you ended it by saying it just is.
Is, right. So it's neither a punishment nor a reward.
Thank you.
It just is. And it's my responsibility and my role in life to figure out why I was given it. What's the message behind?
So grace. So you were graced.
I was graced. And so, and the reason, so why is it grace for me? Because even the title itself is grace, the way it was given to me. During the entire journey of healing myself, I have experienced many grace. And some were lessons, a lot of them were lessons. And lessons in, first of all, in humility, and things that led to me being a badass. And because along the way, I had to pick up, some skills or sharpen some of the skills that I already had in order to be where I am today, which is not just as a survivor, but a warrior who is thriving in life and who I feel like I have almost cracked a formula on how to live a simpler life, in a sense where we go back to basics and we try to figure out what we can and can't control in life. And I think that when that is something that is very clear in our mind and in our heart, it makes living much simpler, less chaotic, and just more peaceful.
Amen. So do people call you V?
V, they do call me V.
So should I call you V?
You can call me V. I even have a tattoo here on my.
Oh, right on. Okay. Can you just slide over a little bit so we can see your logo?
My V?
Yeah, there it is. That's your logo. V.
Don't get used to it because that's changing. I'm rebranding.
Okay. All right.
But I still love my V because it's still on my arm, my shoulder actually.
That's cool.
So, but I don't want to forget your second question to the book, which is that the images, the book cover.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll get back to that. I promise you, I won't forget that.
Okay. All right. Good.
Because I've highlighted that in my notes.
Okay.
Because I think it's fascinating.
Cool.
But I wanted to start with the beginning of the book because on the very first page there's a word that's interesting, and it's finish.
Yes.
And I was captivated by it. I don't even know how to say it right. I'll just try. Sisu?
Exactly.
Oh, right on.
Right.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a minute. Okay. And this is what got me. And this is you saying this. Okay. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's, I don't know who it is.
I'll tell you.
It's Amelia Lathi. Sisu begins where perseverance and grit end. I had to highlight that part.
I have the goosebumps. I feel that right now. And
that's amazing. See, most people so my response to that was, holy shit.
That's exactly what I wanted you to say.
Well, good job, because you got it. You're getting what you wanted. You're getting the result you went for. Because I thought, man, I don't think I've ever thought about that before. Because it's like you talk about in mental toughness all the time, like perseverance and how important it is, and grit is like this. It's like this. It's such it's almost cliche at this point. Grit has become such a popular word, but I get it and I love it. What it means, staying with, not giving up. But this word apparently is beyond that.
It's beyond that. It's
Talk about
beyond
that if you would, because I think this is going to be another mic drop and takeaway for people.
because I don't think that it's not enough to have the perseverance and the resilience and the strength, because there will always be somebody else. But what makes you different from others and that separates you from others is the ability to in a way, keep going. When you think you can't is another huge reason why you should. You know, it's that, because most people, when they feel like they can't, they submit to that. To be a badass, to get what you want and what you so desire. And for me, my desire was to live.
Yeah, right. And so, like, I talk a lot about the all-in state. It's part of my whole gig, is the state of mind where you're infinitely committed to something. You get that. That may not be your language, but I was reading it loud and clear in here. We're going to get to another point on page 69, where you talk about the decision. You made a decision. It's fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the language that you use. Let's talk about, though, for a second, the very initial. So when you were first diagnosed, it was September of 2016, right? Stage 4 lung cancer. You're not a drinker, right? You don't do drugs. Did you ever smoke?
Mm-mm. I mean, you know, of course, when you're young,
but like, you weren't a smoker. You didn't smoke a pack of cigarettes a day.
No.
And okay, so
I'm
you're in
an
shape.
athlete.
You play tennis, right? You're a tennis player, right?
Okay.
So okay, right.
Competitive. I'm there to win.
Roger that. I'm going to sit at the other end of that table in the dinner in Santa Monica. I don't want to say the wrong thing to you. So let's talk about the very first moments, all right, when the doctor said you have stage 4 lung cancer and you have 6 months to live. And I don't mean the first several seconds, because you say, of course, you're in shock. You're like, are you kidding me? But like, it's by the sounds of it, you didn't submit to that at all.
Never.
Like, ever.
Never. Never.
You were more like, I don't think so. Like, that sucks. That's not what I wanted to hear.
No, you know what it
I
is?
have 6 months. Like, I don't think you ever challenged a diagnosis. You challenged a prognosis.
Right. I always say, listen intently, deliberately, when the doctor gives you your diagnosis. It's important to educate yourself and understand your disease. Beyond that, plug your ears. You don't need to know the prognosis, because what you believe, your body hears very loudly.
Yes.
And you cannot afford to have anything toxic like that in your body.
Yeah. You talked about, you're giving me goosebumps already. So here's the one. I'm so glad I made notes. So here's the note. Here's the note. It says, can you read that? It says, I'm doomed, right? Let's talk about that then for a second. Huh?
On the tennis court, I said that.
You were on a tennis court when you said that, because you're getting a divorce, right? You had not been diagnosed yet.
No.
You did not?
Okay. No. I had not been diagnosed.
No. Right. Right. And the whole point of this is that you were saying to yourself, yeah, like, my life is falling apart. I'm doomed.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what?
And I'll read what it says. What's that?
I felt it in my body.
Yeah. I'm doomed. I believe that was the moment that triggered the cancer. The mind and body share a powerful connection. And by speaking those words, I had told my body that my life was over. So you really believe that you take so much, like, complete and emphatic ownership of the fact that you created cancer.
Absolutely. It was the best news I gave myself.
Yeah, you created it, though. Like, you're if here's a victim, you're in the next universe. Seriously, because you just take complete ownership, to the point where I imagine that some people might read this whose, like, loved ones died of cancer and might think that that's kind of offensive. I don't. I think it's amazing, because you're taking ownership, right? That this is the byproduct of my creation, and I'm going to take ownership of that fact. And you also say at one point that the good news of that is that I can change it.
Right. Well, because I believe that when I realized what had happened to my body and my mind, the connection between the two, I became very deliberate about the language that used.
That's
But
huge.
yeah, yeah, and that's why I don't use certain words. And so to me, it was such good news. And what people don't understand, and what I want, if there's anything I would like your followers and your listeners to get today, is that it's really, really important to understand that when you're given a diagnosis like what I got, not by one doctor, 5 doctors. Remember that. 5 male
Oh,
doctors.
I didn't read that.
Yeah, 5 male doctors gave me the same diagnosis. They were waiting
Okay.
for me
Okay.
as I was
All right.
getting wheeled into my room.
When they gave you the same diagnosis, meaning stage 4 lung
Yeah,
cancer,
they were all scratching
they
their
also
heads.
give you the same prognosis.
Right. And
Yes.
so,
Do they know each other? Or is
no,
that just like
I mean, they're all
standard?
colleagues. No, they're all colleagues. No, because I was this person who came in looking really fit. The doctor even
Right.
said, "You
Right.
look
Right.
too fit. You probably just have, the flu or whatever."
Right.
And then then they started with all the tests, and that's when they realized that, I mean, this doctor, which is very unusual, as you know, in this country, to be diagnosed without a biopsy. They gave me my diagnosis even before I got biopsied. Okay, so because they found fluids in my lung,
Yeah. Right.
and
Right.
so this emergency doctor, who was so compassionate, so beautiful. I think she was Australian. She came. I remember being in bed and I couldn't breathe because I rushed to the hospital. I couldn't breathe.
Right. It was like 4 a.m.
Right. And wow, you really know my book,
I
Chris.
told you I
Thank
studied it.
you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And so she gave me, I remember her coming to me after she told me, "Oh, I'm pretty sure you look too fit, that you probably have just the flu." She came and hugged me and she said, "Sweetie, you have cancer."
Was
And
she
I thought,
loving? Was she very loving?
very loving,
Yeah. And that's
very,
a really important point.
very loving.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Because what I hear there, this is huge, is that like it could be some, like even the people that are full of love can be convinced of something that isn't true and can convince us to believe it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So incredibly toxic, limiting, maybe fatal beliefs can come packaged through a loving expression.
Absolutely. But here, the disease was already in my body.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me to say it doesn't exist, it's not going to help me.
Sure. Yeah, you were not in denial. Actually, you were. You were denying. Tell me if you agree with this. You weren't. Again, you were. It's the same thing you just said. You're not denying the diagnosis. You're denying the prognosis.
Exactly.
Like, I hear you. You guys are the experts, and I'll give you expertise in diagnostics. The end. Bye.
Right.
Now I'm going to go find some healers.
Exactly.
And I'm going to change the shit out of my lifestyle.
Right.
I'm going to educate the hell out of myself, and embrace how I don't care how different my life needs to be. I'm just gonna go do what it takes because I ain't dying. That's your deal.
Chris, if you told me that rat over here, if I ate it because that is what's going to heal me, trust me, I will run after that rat and eat it. Okay. And
I'm glad that's not the case. Wait, I didn't see that in the book. Was that
so that's how badly.
That wasn't one of the recipes. I
No.
saw
Gosh,
garlic rat.
Right.
Ginger rat.
Ginger and turmeric. Come on.
Ginger and turmeric rat. Oh my God.
Missing a few things. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that, when you're given a prognosis by 5 doctors, and my response to them was, okay, let's cure it. And that's what I'm saying.
Did you say that out loud?
I did.
And
I
what was
didn't,
and what
they looked
were
at
they
me
were they like
yes.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Well,
that's the part about Western medicine versus integrative medicine, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they can only do what they know, you know, I
Roger
mean,
that.
and
Well, I
they
don't know about that.
actually,
I don't know if I totally agree with that
well,
because they can know more.
they can know more, but they choose not to, and that's not my job.
Right. Well, right.
Okay.
Right.
And I didn't, and to me at that point, it wasn't about trying to convince them. It was more about
Yeah. Like
being
you have time
there.
for that.
I don't have time for that. And that's
No,
why I
because
said
even
to
because then
them,
even if you did convince them, what do they know now? Nothing. They got to go study their
right,
stuff. So you're gonna go find the experts, which you did.
right. And what I had to look from within first.
You know, and I'll say this about that. Yeah, you did, and you became the expert. So
Right.
one of the things you say about this amazing book that I have already, by the way, I already bought this for a friend.
Oh,
I
thank
bought
you.
it. I sent it to him today.
Oh, thank you so much.
He was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So I know. So he needs this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I forget what I was just about to say about that.
No, so what I think what we
Oh,
were
I got it. Thank you. That was really good. Wow, you're good. Is that you became the expert. You said you owned your expertise and you went and educated the hell out of yourself in every arena, right? And so now this is a step-by-step, it's like a guidebook.
it
You
is a
said it
guide.
didn't exist, so you created it. That's what you said, like, that's why I did this, is because it didn't exist. So this is for people, right? It's not only for, I'm not diagnosed, right? But I'm getting so much out of this. But it is really for people who have been diagnosed. It's like, okay, where's the guidebook? What do I do?
Well, I think Chris, it's for people who have been diagnosed with the disease, but also I think it's, you know, it's also for the rest of the world. If you want to prevent any disease from ever happening in your
Oh,
body,
that's beautiful. That's
I think
beautiful.
this is a book that you can actually
Oh, that's
use.
awesome. I love that. So it's also preventative, right?
Right.
It's like how to stay
Right.
healthy, how to not become toxic.
Exactly. And honestly, with what's going on today, I mean, the coronavirus,
Hmm.
it's the grace of the coronavirus.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Hey, for those of you that are listening in the year 2050 to this, there was this crazy shit that went down in 2020, and it was only all over Earth,
Yes.
called the
Yes.
coronavirus.
Oh my.
And we're in the whole deal right now. So I
Yes.
love that. And that applies to everything in the world. You know, so I don't know if you said it exactly like this, but I had a guest on the show recently whose father killed his mother horrifically when he was 12 years old. And he did all of his healing and has become a famous musician, guest on Ellen and all that. He's just incredible. An NFL player. He has a Super Bowl ring. Right. He really he took ownership. He reminds me of you so much. And he said it, and he gave me goosebumps in the interview. And he said, and you may have said this also, or you might just say it, but I sure as hell know you believe it, that life doesn't happen to us. It happens for us.
I believe that. And I feel
Of
very,
course you do. It's abundantly clear. Like that's
yeah.
his line. Life doesn't, and Byron Katie says that all the time too. And I love that. Life doesn't happen to us. So that's the grace. It happens for us, right? By the grace of God or by the grace of whatever you believe in, you know, by grace,
Yeah.
divine grace, whatever.
We
It
have a
happens for
choice.
you.
We have a choice on how
Everything.
we interpret things that happen
Amen to
around
that.
us and to us. And I am not going to ever disempower myself, ever, if I can help it, to ever think that something is not given to me as a gift.
Okay, so I couldn't love that more, right? So do you complain ever?
Nope.
Never.
Nope.
Oh, this is wonderful. Good, because I get asked all the time, because I'm always encouraging when I give talks or my coaching, one of the immediate invitations or challenges that I invite people to accept is to start eliminating complaining from your life. Okay, and I'm working on that, but I still complain.
But Chris, you weren't given a death sentence. It's very different. The pre-CV complained. The post-CV doesn't complain. And why is that?
CV?
Pre-C, meaning pre-cancer.
Oh.
Of course I complained.
Oh, the pre-cancer you.
Right.
Yes. Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying all that. So
right.
Wait, you think I need to get diagnosed with
no.
cancer to stop complaining?
But that's why reading my book.
Yeah, right.
Even though you don't have the disease.
Okay,
should
help me with this.
accelerate your process
That's very interesting.
in learning to be grateful
Yeah,
for your life. And what
right,
does that really mean? Life is made of, there's always two ways of, and there's always, life is full of great things and life is also full of challenging things, right?
right. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
when we love life, we have to like it, we have to love it as a whole. we can't
Sorry.
we can't love life a la carte.
That is
Remember, I'm a
fun.
chef.
Is
I'm a
that
chef. So you will find that I will be speaking in terms of food, menu, ingredients, and tennis.
I love it. I can't wait to go play tennis again. Maybe we'll play tennis one day.
Oh, be careful. I'm really good.
God, I love that. I love that about you. Let me just slow that down for a second here, okay? And then I want to get back to the complaining and all, because that's a big point. But you're making too many damn good points at one time. Slow it down, would you? So, so a lot of time I work with a lot of golfers and I play golf, and in a lot of sports, especially in golf, there's like this weird cultural habit where you meet somebody and for some reason you were talking about golf. Oh, you play golf, and they don't say anything close to what you just said. They don't even just go, yeah, I love the sport. They go, well, I mean, it doesn't really look like golf. Or they'll say some self-deprecating bullshit. Like, well, I try. I mean, I suck. They always say, well, I mean, I play. I'm no good, but they always say, you just did the opposite. I'm like, oh, maybe we can get to play sometime. You go, well, you better be careful.
because
You're so
I know
unapologetic about your badassery that I think that's absolutely beautiful, and we need to learn from that. Joking aside, no kidding. There's the subtitle of my book. The subtitle of my first book is, which I love better than the title itself, is the subtitle is Confidently Stepping into Your Own Brilliance. You have clearly done that. Now let's get back to the whole, I didn't get diagnosed. I wasn't given a death sentence, right? This is a really important point, I think, for people. For me, I want to learn from this from you right now. I had a job right out of college that I was on a scalloping boat where you go out to sea and you could be going out there for a month until you fill the boat up with scallops, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Everything about it sucks except dinners. Those were really good. But because you work for 18 hours nonstop, it's freezing cold. You're in the Northeast in November. The waves. It's
freezing.
The bathroom is the last place you ever want to go because you come out dirtier.
Oh my gosh.
It's just I was sleeping on the floor. These guys were doing cocaine. It was like the whole thing was like was a train wreck, right? A couple things though that I took away from that have persisted is appreciation for a bed. And I'm not kidding. When I go to sleep and when I wake up, it's like a habit. And I'm like, I love this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love this.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I wouldn't have that gratitude. And I'm sincere. I have a badass bed. And I appreciate the hell out of it. Every time I lay my head down, every time I sit up, I'm like, man, this is comfy. I love this bed. This is what a blessing. What a luxury. And I really appreciate it. And it came from that experience. I don't know that I would have that. And I think it's beautiful because it's legit. It's genuine appreciation, gratitude, right? And showers.
Yes.
And showers.
Right.
I get a shower and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And those two things came from that horrific experience. So you're saying now, so do we need, I might play a little bit of devil's advocate here just for fun because you're an expert here. Do we need tragedy to really get the same depth of learning?
Okay. I hope not.
Me too.
And I think there's a reason behind certain things happening to certain people. And, aside from me having had cancer and trying to figure out why I was given that and the reasons behind that, because obviously, someone up there really had a belief in me, right? And I see it as a compliment. God, I'm Catholic, so I will refer to God because it's the only person I turned to in a way when I was diagnosed and given that prognosis for help, because there was nobody else who was giving me any hope, because everywhere I turned, they said, you have 6 months. So I'm like, no, God's the only person that can give me that
Mm,
because my story has been written. But I also believe that God doesn't give you anything you can't handle. And so I always say, I prayed not for things to go away. I pray for him to give me more strength.
Oh yeah, I love that part too. That was one of the notes.
Right.
Yeah, that was in the beginning.
Right.
When you
And you
were
need
taking
that.
what's that?
And you need that because
Yeah. You weren't like being a victim baby. You weren't like, heal me,
yeah.
heal, take it away.
Yeah.
You weren't that. You're like, all
No.
right, no, I'm not asking you to take it away because I created this. I own that shit. All right, I
Yeah.
got this. But I could use some help.
Right. Exactly. That's what I said to him.
Yeah.
I don't take
I
this
love
away.
that's worth repeating.
Yeah. Don't
No, I
take it
love
away.
that, right? Because that is beautiful. Man, how many times are you going to plan on giving me goosebumps during one interview?
Well, I'm giving myself goosebumps.
Cut it out over there. So don't cut it out. So yeah, it's like that's so beautiful because it's prayer and ownership. Like, isn't that neat? Like, a lot of times maybe people pray themselves into victim thinking.
Right. Yeah. No.
And you're not like, take it away, fix it.
No.
Take this bad thing away. No, you're like Grace. You're like, Roger that, got it. I created this word, no problem. We're good. I could use a little help though.
Right. Yeah. That's the humility. That's the
And
lack
ownership.
of
It's ownership married to humility.
the accountability
Yeah.
and the lessons in humility.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right
Oh,
there.
yeah, there we go.
Asking
Humility.
for help.
Lessons in
That's
humility.
right. And it is because I had to ask for help.
Yeah.
But at the same time, understand that I am walking into being great. When I learn all the lessons I'm supposed to. And now having discovered my purpose along the way, to me, that's true greatness. Is recognizing that this is not about me, even though my body was used for this message to come out.
Wow. Right on.
I'm the vessel. And this is part of my story. I'm living my story. And when you know you have a story and there's things when you reflect back in your life, Chris and you and I'm 53, no, maybe 54 this year. I don't even remember how old I am now. I mean, this was at 49 when they told me I wasn't even going to celebrate my 50th birthday. Are you fucking kidding me? No.
Right. Yeah, no.
No. So, I get to say that. And so knowing that and knowing that God is behind me and, and when you talk about how every morning and every night you're thankful for having your bed. Well, guess what? I do this thing where I will share with you where every morning before I get up, I quickly do a body physical scan and I say, I fucking feel great. Nothing is hurting. Thank you, God. Let me know. Give me guidance today. Give me grace. Show me how I can be of service to others today. What can I do for you today? And then when I go to bed, I say...
Well, hold on, right there. Then right before you go to bed, though, right after you wake up, you do that. And then you go have hot water with lemon.
Yeah. Chris, I feel like I can't. See, this is people know what my routines are.
Yeah, what the hell? You don't want them to know that don't put it in the book.
You know what? You're the first one to interview me, and I've had several podcast interviews where you're actually really breaking this down and showing me that you've read the book, and knowing these little details, which
it's
really
important. This is important. So this
Yes.
is a beautiful. I completely and 100% endorse the hell out of this book for everybody possible. Because this is a book on mental toughness, for Christ's sake. Now, it's not just that. There's a whole shitload of recipes and all these practices and exercise and health stuff.
It's delicious. And I'm such a badass chef. Let me tell you that.
Of course you are. That's why I was saying you remind me of Laura Jane Bolton, because she knows so much shit about so much shit, and so do you. Like, it's mind-boggling. Of course, now this being a mental toughness podcast, we are really, really hyper-focusing on the thing that you started all with, which is mentality.
Well, give yourself
without the right mentality, none of this is going to happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is as you read the first few pages of my intro is I'm empowering the readers to let them know that they still have a decision to make.
That's a decision. Okay, so thank you for that unplanned segue. So on page 69, this is really powerful. The sentence. starts the second paragraph, says, if you're waiting for a scan result to know whether you will live or die, you clearly have not made the decision to live.
Oh my God.
Boom!
Yes!
Come on!
Oh my God. Chris, that affects me in such a physical way. I believe that.
Yeah, like, of course. You're like, all right, do you have the results? Am I going to die? What do we got? Like, what are you doing? You're letting all the external world govern your belief system, right? So that's so beautiful to me. That's the decision. That's the ability that we have, is to decide. That the Western medical model may completely contradict.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
you don't I'm the expert. I decide. Okay, science decides. All right, the medical journals decide. Right, relax over there. Sorry, bad news, but you're dead.
Right, right. No, it's it's about taking the power back. I am not going to relinquish power when it's mine, right? It's mine. And I think that when you say a badass, Chris, and mental toughness, it's always checking in and thinking, am I giving up my power here or not? Am I allowing other circumstances dictate my outcome? Is this something within my control? And I think, again, if you tie it back to the current situation, is I think that I'm
You mean
able,
the COVID-19 virus?
coronavirus is I'm able to thrive during this environment because it's like I went through cancer. I mean, this is nothing. This is
You're like, give me a break. But
yeah.
But let me ask you a question. I want to come from like, have you had anybody who's had a loved one die of stage 4 cancer to come to you and talk to you about this? Like, and say, well, why, you know,
I've had a lot of people. I've had a lot of people talk to me. Even
and how do you talk? Because they didn't survive.
No. Other people who are going through it.
How about people? I'm saying people whose like wife or husband died,
right,
and they're like a little bitter because like, well, they didn't make it. Right. And they had a great attitude. I mean, how do you respond to that? Like, what if somebody, like, I mean, it's true, right? Some people are diagnosed. And there's those stories like, you know, have you seen the Heal documentary?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, of course you have, right? And there's like the stories like yours. You should have been in that. And Anita Morjani, her story, right? Right. And there's lots of stories like that. But there's a lot of stories, right, where, although I don't hear them that much, of people who are diagnosed who had great attitudes, who you know, embraced integrative medicine, who changed their diet, who got really healthy physically, did everything. Perhaps I mean, I can't say that for a fact, but I presume there are stories of that, and they didn't live.
Right.
I mean, there has to be stories like that, right?
Oh yeah, there's more stories like that, I'm sure, than the other way.
And I'm not talking about stories of people who got diagnosed and just gave in, got complacent. I'm talking about stories of people who got diagnosed and had your exact attitude and approach, but still didn't live.
Right.
What do you say about that? I mean, of course, we're all going to die.
Right, right.
All right.
I mean, that's the whole, I mean, Buddhist, right? I mean, it's impermanence. It's knowing that. I just want to make sure, I want you to understand, I wasn't afraid of dying, Chris.
Okay. I think that's important.
That's easy. Dying is easy. You just close your eyes and that's it. Okay, it's actually an easy way out.
Wow.
Okay, it's easier to die than to live. Because to live, I mean, when I say to live, it requires work. It requires intentions. It requires you checking in, and it requires you being aware. It requires you being enlightened. It's work. You're not supposed to sleepwalk through life. If you are in love with life, if you understand that you exist in this planet for a reason, and I do. So it's actually takes a lot more energy and a lot more from someone who is very well aware to live a fulfilled life than someone who's given a prognosis of 6 months and just saying, okay, I'm ready to go.
Do you think that having been a competitive athlete assisted you in all of this?
I think that's part of it. It's never just one thing, but I had to reflect back. You know, I'm a believer that after what I had gone through. When you look back in your life, you recognize that you have been given everything you need in terms of acquisition of skills and mental toughness, all of these skills that you need to live your story. Had you not prevented yourself from experiencing everything that was given to you. And that means not being fearful to go through pain, not being fearful to go through challenges and sufferings, because those are the things that are going to give you your muscle of resilience, your strength to flex them.
And then Sisu.
There's your Sisu right there. I am 54, I think, this year.
We'll look into that.
I don't even care because I don't care.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
I feel like I'm in my 20s, but here I feel much older than that, but that's a good thing. But so I really feel that when we take a look at life like that, it's so much easier to live and so much more a way to like live. It's simpler, it's easier, things just make more sense to you, where I feel like, okay, thank God I was given all these challenges in my life that gave me the muscles and the strength and the decisiveness and the belief and the go-getter in me to go through what I'm going through, what I went through 3.5 years ago. Because it's not just the tennis. When I was very young, my father died when I was very young, as I wrote in my book, a plane crash.
Right.
Okay, that is a huge, I mean, when I look back, there are many things in my life that did not come easy that prepared me to be the badass I am today. Because I didn't say, no, don't do that. Oh my gosh, no, that's too hard. No, I basically said, okay, I'm going through this. I lost my father. He didn't abandon me. Even though as a 5-year-old, you think he never came back. Do you think I know what abandonment meant back then, but later on? And then just like the life I chose, prepares you for all these things, that for the big story that you're about to experience in life. It's almost like when you graduate, you get to be rewarded with what I got. And that's the grace of cancer.
Hey,
and
woo! Booyah! All right, let's talk about the designs.
Okay, so this, like I said, the download came at the same time simultaneously with the title, The Grace of Cancer, as well as the images of the front and the back cover.
Right.
This is a wabi-sabi.
Yeah.
It is a Japanese way of living, where the Japanese feel that when something is broken, let's just take a bowl, for example. When a bowl is broken, by piecing it together, and what do they use to piece it together? The most expensive and most valued metal, gold. So when something is pieced together with gold, in Japanese culture, it's there's beauty in the imperfection.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love that so much.
And for
this
me,
is so well thought out.
I have learned to celebrate my imperfections and be comfortable in my own imperfections, because I was so into being perfect that now I celebrate the imperfection is your perfection.
I love that. That's so great. That's a perfect way to wrap up. Thank you so much, V. Wow. I don't know if I've ever gotten goosebumps as frequently in as short a period of time on a Tough Talks interview, for sure.
Well, I'm glad. That's a good first right there, Chris.
I'm pretty damn sure I'm not the only one who's listening to this, who that's the case for. So where do you want people to go to get a copy of the book, The Grace of Cancer, Lessons in Humility and Greatness by Veronica Villanueva? Where should they go to get it?
Amazon. It's Amazon's bestseller.
Is it?
Oh, yes. Within, less than 20
Oh, look at you go.
Yeah, and it's been featured at the Entrepreneur magazine.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and Kirkus
Good job.
Review. Kirkus Review is like one of the oldest and the most traditional book reviewers in all times, and known to be brutally honest. So when my publishing company emailed me and said, your book has been reviewed by Kirkus, I'm like, I held my breath for a little bit, and I'm like, oh my God, I know about them. They're really brutally honest. And I'm like, what did I say? Good stuff, obviously.
That's
So,
beautiful. Well, I'm not surprised about that.
well, so they're saying the Entrepreneur magazine did say they included 8 books. So they ranked my book as number 4 must read during the coronavirus. There you go. And that's what I'm saying. You know what? I feel like, yes, it's about cancer, but if you are very enlightened, you will take the lessons that I've learned and that I've written in this book and use my own experience so that you don't have to go through the pain and suffering that I went through, and use that so that you could be thriving in your life.
Amen. Where should people follow you or reach out to you?
So Instagram, it's very easy. Badass Belief Coach.
Of course it is.
Yes, and guess what? I didn't give myself that name. It's somebody else, and I'm like, okay, it sounds good. I'll use it. Badass Belief Coach. My website is, of course, my name, VeronicaVillanueva.com. And it's exciting. I am creating all kinds of different products, and I'm going to.
Is there anything that you want people listening to know about?
Well, yes. I mean, I feel like I've spent the last 3.5 years not only healing myself, building my body back, building my mental toughness, and there's always room to build more, right? And so, and because I've seen, because the book is out and a lot of people have approached me, and I would tell them, and because cannabis, for example, is one of the things that I use as one of the healing protocols. And so I have a partner, you must know probably Charlotte Webb. And so my partner is an incredible heart too, has an incredible heart where he helps heal kids who suffer from epilepsy. And his daughter was born with about 126 seizures. Oh no, wasn't born, got vaccinated and got epilepsy as a result of that, was having 126 seizures a day. So he quit what he was doing as a professor, and now he, for over a decade, partnered with another company, Charlotte Webb, to have cannabis heal these pediatric kids.
Oh, wow.
So he and I teamed up together and created a cannabis line for healing.
So where do we go for that?
So we are launching it in the next 2 months. It's called Alive, Well, and Thrive.
Alive,
Well,
and Thrive.
Yes, and that basically describes my healing stages.
Oh, roger that. Will that be a website?
Yes, yes.
So that's it. Alive, Well, and A-N-D?
And Thrive, ampersand. So at first I had to choose to be alive. Then I had to take actions in being well. And from being well, not enough to be a cancer survivor. I need to thrive and flourish to be a warrior. So Thrive.
I will put all that in the show notes, but I just want to clarify for people that aren't going to be ever looking at the show notes, that are only listening to this in podcast form. It's Alive, Well, which is in the
ampersand. Thrive and Thrive.
And Thrive.com.
Yes.
Perfect.
It's exciting. I'm really happy. I really believe that healed people have the responsibility of healing other people. And we know that the world needs a lot of healing right now.
Well, thank you for the way that you're showing up in the world and inspiring people to take ownership and to become the badasses that they are designed to be.
Yes.
You rock, my friend.
So
great to meet you. Thank you so much for all of this.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it. And it was really wonderful being able to laugh. That's, vitamin L, right?
Yeah, I love it. Right on. Amen to that. Thanks, V.
Thank you, Chris.
That was a good one. Wow, what a powerful way to choose to live, huh? What a powerful thing to choose to live. And then how powerful she chooses to live after the decision to live. I'll tell you, there's a lot of takeaways in that one. That was phenomenal. I hope that you got out of that as much as I did. I mean, some of the takeaways for me is she said that cancer is neither a punishment nor a reward. It just is. It's like a wake up, but she calls it grace. And that, like, by the grace of God, right? Thank God that happened to snap her out of the toxic lifestyle that she created, that created cancer in the first place. So she's not satisfied with surviving. She's only interested in thriving. I love the whole concept of the Finnish term sisu, which is beyond grit and perseverance. You can't love life a la carte. You got to love the whole program. That's pretty great. She really, that was a mic drop. She caught me off guard when she said, Chris, what she did, she's like, Chris, you see, I wasn't afraid of dying. Dying is easy. Living, really living, is tough. Hoo-ah. Good stuff. All right. Well, as always, thanks for joining. And if you aren't, as a reminder, if you're not getting my the notifications of these new interviews of Tough Talks, as well as my blog post, it's the same notification, then I encourage you to get on to my list for that, which you could just, at one time, you could get on both my lists. The other list is the Daily Dose, right? This is a copy of the book of the first 365 daily doses. If you're not familiar with what that is, very briefly, what it is I send out every single morning, 365 days a year, I send a message to your email inbox at 6 a.m. your local time, wherever you are in the world. And it's a nugget of mental toughness in 30 seconds or less, right? Take you 30 seconds or less to read it. Hopefully you'll think about it for the remainder of the day. So if you'd like to get on both of those lists, you can do it with one click. Go to christopherdoris.com/lists, L-I-S-T-S, name and email, click, and you got it. All right, folks, until next time, create miracles.